It'll be 1 to go this time by. Coming to the green, buddy, coming to the green. Let's go get him. Go, 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 dig, 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 go, 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 go.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
It's, you know, in some ways it's, you know, it's not the Daytona 500, but, and so I want to be careful and choose my words correctly, but in some ways it's the better of the two races. It's shorter, it's hotter and slicker, so handling is more key factor than it is in February, and I like all those aspects of it, and now we're throwing in double file restarts. Couldn't possibly get any more crazy than that, so I'm expecting a great show.
Well, out of all the drafting races, I think the most demanding on all of us will be the July 4 race. Just the way the track is very slick there in the heat. The lights come out, everyone gets a bit crazy. So we all expect that to be a very tough race just to survive through. My personal take on it is just to try to make it to the end. Probably the similar format to what I did there in the 500. Just hang back a little bit, let the laps tick over. Just wait for my time to really get off in there, and hopefully when the time is right to go in, that I've got enough skill and fortitude to make it stick.
And I said earlier how we struggle everywhere. The only places I really have are Bristol, Richmond, and Daytona. That's all we really have. So that's where our cars really run strong. So I'm looking forward to Daytona next week. Hopefully, you know, we can stay out of mayhem and just have a good solid run there. But, you know, our cars really drive well there. They might bounce a lot and look terrible, but for some reason they're fast and, you know, they still grip good. And, you know, it should be a good race for us.
Very cool race. You know, the July race in Daytona, it's not the 500, but it's still Daytona. And, you know, a neat time of the year. The night race is always special. I think the cars look so cool under the lights. It's, you know, that's a lot of lights on that track. That's a big track to light up. And, you know, just a very cool weekend and a very important weekend of the country anyway. So, you know, to be racing at one of actually the coolest racetrack on the circuit where it all started, it's only fitting that we're there. So.
You know, last year, Kyle and I had a great battle. I mean, if they threw that caution, but there's no telling what would have happened if we'd have raced back to the checkered flag. That was, you know, that was headed to being a great race. And, you know, I like going to Daytona. That racetrack is, you know, until they repave it, it's going to be, you know, by far the best restrictor plate track we have, you know, because it gets slippery and bumpy, and that you have to use the setup to, you know, to run well, and I like that place a lot.
Well, I think obviously, I mean, the race here at Daytona had Donnie Allison and Cale Yarborough. I mean, that obviously was probably one of my first memories of NASCAR and one of the most memorable. You know, it wasn't. It's like you felt bad. I mean, I was racing go-karts at the time, and you felt bad because you knew how hard it is to get there at the end of a race and to see it come down to the last lap like that, and neither one of them made it to the end. I mean, that's definitely something that stuck out in my mind for sure.
It's cool to come back here. Obviously, winning the 500 was huge for us and really kicked the year off, and we're lucky enough to be able to follow that up at California. So, anyway, it's been real up and down since then. We've had some good runs, some bad runs, and not really very consistent finishes. So I'm glad to be back here, and hopefully we can get our car to handle and you know, be up front and have a shot at it again.
You know, this race always tends to get strung out a little bit anyways, especially in long runs and stuff. So if you've got a good handling race car, man, you'll stay up front and not have to deal with a whole lot. I think Joey's done a great job at coming along on his own. You know, he hasn't he hasn't taken the mentality of myself or Denny Hamlin to heart. He's been Joey Logano. You know, he hasn't tried to imitate our off-track stuff. So he's been doing a great job at that. You know, we try to help him as much as we can on the track. You know, it seems like him and his dad have a good thing going with the off-track stuff, and so they're doing fine there. But him on the track, you know, he's come to me for some help here in February. You know, he really looked out of place a little bit and seemed to have gotten comfortable and has found his home, for say, in that 20 car. So there's been a lot of pressure riding on his shoulders, but I think he's done a good job at it.
Just want to, you know, get to a weekend and be the dominant car, you know, and if we can do that, I think you can get that ball rolling and get everybody in the team pumped up about that. You know, everybody's pumped up that we're running well. Everybody's pumped up that, you know, we got a realistic chance of making the change, you know, not by luck, but by pure speed. And you know, I think that's very important. And I think if we can run a little bit better and people can start smelling wins, then they're going to get even more excited.
The last couple of weeks I think we've run just a little bit better than that 18 team and Kyle in the Nationwide Series. I mean, we did really well at Milwaukee. We were real fast at New Hampshire. We just had a bad pit stop. We just have to run like that every week. You know, if you look at how Kyle's run, you know, he probably should have won, you know, 8 or 10 races. I don't know how many he's won, but not that many. And that's how you have to run to win them. You know, to win 3 races, you've got to dominate, you know, 8 or 9 of them. So we just have to keep running the way we're running. We have to keep working on these engines and make sure we're fast at these bigger tracks, and we got to have a little bit of luck. This track is a lot more fun for me than you know. It's the most fun restrictor plate track because it has bumps and it gets slick and handling comes into play, and that's pretty cool after 10 or so laps. And I feel like we've got a good handle on that. So hopefully that translates.
This is NASCAR Newscast Weekend Preview Edition. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series returns to the World Center of Racing this 4th of July holiday for Saturday night's running of the Coke Zero 400 at Daytona International Speedway. The annual Midsummer Classic is set to run under the lights at Daytona on Saturday and will provide an exciting night of racing, according to Clint Bowyer.
Very cool race. You know, the July race in Daytona, it's not the 500, but it's still Daytona. And, you know, a neat time of the year. The night race is always special. I think the cars look so cool under the lights. It's, you know, that's a lot of lights on that track. That's a big track to light up. And, you know, just a very cool weekend and a very important weekend of the country anyway. So, you know, to be racing at one of actually the coolest racetrack on the circuit where it all started, it's only fitting that we're there.
400-mile race will present a unique set of challenges to drivers, and Marcos Ambrose knows Saturday night's race will be one of the most demanding of the season.
Well, out of all the drafting races, I think the most demanding on all of us will be the July 4 race. Just the way the track is very slick there in the heat. The lights come out, everyone gets a bit crazy. So we all expect that to be a very tough race just to survive through. My personal take on it is just to try to make it to the end. Probably the similar format to what I did there in the 500. Just hang back a little bit, let the laps tick over, just wait for my time to really get off in there, and hopefully when the time is right to go in that I've got enough skill and fortitude to make it stick.
Sprint Cup Series point leader Tony Stewart leads the drivers to watch this Saturday night based on NASCAR's Loop Data driver rating system. Stewart brings a 104.4 rating into the race, with Kyle Busch next at 100.1. February's Daytona 500 winner Matt Kenseth is 4th at 95.1. This is NASCAR Newscast.